All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you could join us this morning. My name is Miss Parker, and here we also have Miss Pasayo, who's the assistant principal at Los Altos High School, Mr. Carter, who is my fellow counselor and counseling coordinator this year for Los Altos. And we have 4 ASB students here with us as well. So we have Amanda Lee, we have Shanna Caruso, we have Tara Davari, and Daniela Sayer, sorry. So we are going to dive right in. So first on your screen, you can see there are all of the counselors for Los Altos High School. And on the far right is Ms. Vallado, who's our counseling secretary, who in the future will be communicating with you and your parents as we have different meetings throughout the year and other information. And your counselors are assigned by last name, by your last name. That's how you're assigned, and you'll keep the same counselor for all 4 years that you're enrolled. We're going to be going over a lot of information today. The great thing is, one, this is recorded, so you'll be able to access this after our time this morning. And we have a ton of information on our Los Altos High School website and our counseling page. So you can go ahead and check that out later on, and anything that you could even think about when it comes to course selection will be listed there, but we're going to go into that further today. So some of the resources that you'll have access to at our high school include ourselves, our school counseling office. So there are 7 of us, and we meet with our students, as I said, all 4 years that you're enrolled. We have a tutorial center and a writing center to support you with all of the academic subject areas that are offered, and both peer tutors as well as adult tutors to support you. We have a college and career center that can help you throughout your time in high school, whether it be thinking about your options after high school, including career or college, and also just finding a part-time job while you're in high school. We have mental health support. So CHAC, the counselors are available to help with students with any personal, social, or emotional needs while they're in high school. And we have Spanish translation through our bilingual liaison, Ms. Herney, who also offers our English language learners support. So now we're going to dive into the requirements to actually graduate from high school. So you'll need a total of 220 credits in specific subject areas. And you don't have to worry, that sounds very intense, but when you're a 9th grader, you'll be meeting with your counselor to go over all of the different requirements and mapping out a 4-year plan to help you meet your goals to graduate from high school and for college entrance requirements. And each semester you'll earn 5 credits. So that's how you'll go about getting the 220 total credits. So these are the subject area requirements. So a student needs 4 years of English to graduate, and then 35 credits or 3.5 years of social studies, 2 years of math, 2 years science, 2 years of any combination of world language or fine arts or practical arts, 2 years of PE, 1 semester of health, and then 60 elective credits, which come from some classes that are just considered elective, but more often students are earning a lot of their elective credit by going above and beyond a minimum requirement up top. So for example, a student who does 4 years of math, the extra 2 years will be elective credit. Oops, I think there might be one before that one. Okay, there we go. So when you are selecting your freshman classes for next year, this is something that you'll want to keep in mind. So both a load of 6 classes and a load of 7 classes, both are considered full schedules. And it's up to you to decide what feels best for you going into your first year of high school. So all of that in mind, what a typical schedule will include are English, which is survey of composition and literature in 9th grade, world studies, which is your history class, PE, and a math class, and there are several options. So there's Algebra 9, Algebra with Skills, Geometry 9, Geometry Honors, Algebra 2 Honors. There's Science, and you have 3 options for 9th grade, whether that be Environmental Science or Biology Honors. Some students might choose to take their world language starting in freshman year. And there could be an elective added on top of that, or an academic support class. And the two subject areas that we have support classes for in ninth grade are Algebra 1 or Algebra 9, and Survey, which is the English class. Okay, so with all of those math courses offered, you might be wondering, well, which one do I take next year? So we do have a website where you can check out what the placement policy is for ninth grade. And this slide deck will be made available, and you can go ahead and take a look at that website. But you'll be working, you'll understand where you'll be next year in math based off of where you're currently placed in middle school and eighth grade. And for those of you who are planning to take Mandarin at Los Altos High School, any prior experience or exposure to the language, you should go ahead and check out this link that's on the screen and schedule a 15-minute one-on-one assessment. It's via Zoom, and those can be scheduled between January 27th and February 10th. All right, so in addition to Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, we have Spanish, French, and Latin offered for world languages. For fine arts, you can choose from drawing, painting, or photo, and you can see we have so many performing arts options. So there's concert band, there's orchestra, there's chorus, there's acting one, marching band, and we also have an exploring music class. So if you're just interested in playing an instrument, but you don't have any experience yet, this would be a great way to get into that. All right, and so back on that screen when we have the list of all the subject area requirements, you might have been wondering what a practical art is. So these are a few examples of practical arts at Los Altos High School. So we have career tech classes. So there's computer programming, intro to engineering design, innovative design essentials, robotics 1, and intro to journalism. If you have any interest in journalism, this could be a good way to get started. If you have any interest in the future writing for the school newspaper, the Talon. For electives in freshman year, you have the option of selecting AVID for freshman year. And again, the academic support classes. So that's survey skills for English and math lab for Algebra 9. And now I believe Mr. Carter is going to take it from here.
Thanks, Ms. Parker. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Mr. Carter. I'm one of the counselors here at the high school. And so I wanted to continue on talking about course options for next year. And so we do offer some honors courses to our ninth grade students. You can see them listed at the bottom. Honors courses are a great way for students to challenge themselves in high school level coursework that moves at a faster pace and is overall more rigorous than the standard college prep courses. As I mentioned, they do move at a faster pace. The workload tends to be considerably heavier in honors courses. And when you're trying to think about, is there an honors course that I might be interested in taking in ninth grade? We want you to consider a couple of things. One, first of all, is it a subject area that you're excited about? Do you see yourself being excited about putting in some extra time and doing some extra work to excel in that area? We really want you choosing to take an honors course if you're excited about the subject area. Secondly, we would want you to have a conversation with your current teachers about not only your readiness in that subject area, but also about your current work habits. Because these courses do require extra work, we want to make sure that you have good, solid habits so that you can thrive in them. They're a lot of fun and they can be a great way to enjoy a challenge in ninth grade, but we want to make sure that you're ready both from a foundational standpoint and also from a work habits standpoint. So one of the things that you're going to have access to help you make your course selections for next year is this course selection worksheet. We used to deliver this to you on paper when we would come into your middle schools in normal times, but since we're unable to do that today, you do have access to this worksheet on our website that we introduced you to earlier, and your principal does have a link that I think they have shared with you with great incoming ninth grader resources, and this is one of those resources. And so this sheet lists all of the courses that we offer to you in ninth grade. It's broken down by subject area, so you can just kind of go through it. And what we also really like this tool for is a communication tool. So you can share this with your parents and show them what you're thinking about taking, and also share it with your current teachers and go over it and just make sure that the courses you're thinking about taking are the correct placement for you. And then also, this is really nice to have in front of you when you sit down at the computer to enter your courses into the SIS system, which I'm going to talk about in just a few seconds. Another tool that we think is really excellent, especially for incoming ninth graders, but we encourage you to use this every year when you select your courses, is our time management worksheet. This allows you to add up all of the hours in a day and in a week, and to add up all of the things that you're thinking of doing academically, extracurricularly, and then also the important self-care that does take time in a day. There are only 168 hours in a week. And so if you add up all of the hours of things that you're planning on doing and it exceeds 168, something's got to go. And it can't be the important things like sleep and taking care of yourself, giving yourself good nutrition, and downtime as well. So we really encourage you to access this time management worksheet. It's really helpful as you're plotting out what you're planning on doing holistically for next year. So as we mentioned, you do need to make your course selections through our online ARI system. In order to do that, you're going to have to set up an account. Both you and your parents need to set up an account, and they did receive a letter with instructions on how to do that. Those instructions are also posted on our school's website in that link that we have shared with you. And once you've set up the account, I think you'll find that this is pretty easy system to use. It's pretty intuitive. It's pretty closely aligned with the system that you're using in middle school. So I don't think you'll have much trouble acclimating to it once you're in. And we do need you to go in and create that account and then enter your courses in that you're requesting for next year by February 12th. So not the end of this week, but the following week. And this is just kind of a snapshot of what it looks like. Again, these slides are going to be posted along with this recording on the website, and the instructions in detail on how to add those courses in is also posted in that letter that we have on our website as well. So this looks kind of complicated, but I promise you it really isn't. As you come into our school, we ask that every student has a device with them so that they can engage in meaningful activities electronically. It's obviously very important this year, but even as we return to campus in the future, it will be important. You don't have to have your own laptop. Our MBLA Foundation has generously supported us having Chromebooks for all of our students to check out. And so if you don't have a laptop or you don't want to use your laptop, you can check out a Chromebook from our school. And as I mentioned, in addition to setting up your SIS account, you'll also need to set up your MBLA Gmail. I think you're probably doing something like that in 8th grade right now, so you should be used to that as well. But you'll have an MBLA Gmail account as well that you use all the way through high school. All right, so now some of the really fun stuff. We really want to encourage you as you're coming into our school to get involved. It's really important, particularly as you start high school in 9th grade and you're trying to figure out how high school works, and you're just getting used to a larger school. It is really helpful to have a smaller community or communities that you can connect to. So we have lots and lots and lots of clubs on our campus. This is only a small selection of the clubs that we offer on our campus. We have over 100 active clubs right now. They're all posted on the website. We have a great club day at the beginning of the school year where you can come in and hear more about it. And because we have some students here, I think it would be fun for them to talk a little bit about how clubs work on our campus. I gave you just a little preview, but they're really the experts. So I don't know if I should call on one of you, but let's see. Daniela, Tara, um, can one of you give us a little bit of info about clubs and how they work, or Amanda or Shanna, any of you?
I can go ahead.
Great, thanks, Tara.
Um, the great thing about clubs is that you can also make one if you don't choose from the like 100 plus on campus. And there's honestly clubs for almost everything. And I really recommend just trying at least a few and seeing which one you feel you fit in and that you really like. If there's nothing that you seem to like, you can find an advisor and a few friends and make a club. And we also have club days where you can go and meet these clubs and see what they do. So that would happen, I believe, at the beginning of the year next year.
Cool. Thanks, Tara. Anything else that Tara missed that anyone else wants to jump in on?
I would also like to say that clubs are a great way to like make new friends, and if you're new to the school, it's a great way to be a part of Los Altos too.
Thanks, Daniela. Do any of you want to share what clubs you're currently a part of or have been a part of in the past?
Yeah, sure. Last year I was in SSA, which is South so sorry, I can't pronounce it, but it was a club that helped raise money for kids in Africa, and that was one of my interests. And this year I'm in Red Cross cooking club and also criminology. So there's a lot of diverse clubs that you can join. So I'm sure that you guys will be able to find one that you like.
Thanks. Hey, what if you missed the club day in the fall? Can you still join a club after that?
Yeah, so clubs are open to basically everyone. Like there's no application or whatever. So if you miss the club day, a lot of clubs have social media or websites, and there's a list of them online. So you can just get in contact with their officers, and then drop into whatever classroom they're meeting during the week. And they're always like no commitment. So you can go to a meeting, and if you don't like it, you don't have to commit. So it's really nice.
Great. Thanks, student leaders. That was very helpful. So let's talk a little bit now about one of the other ways that you can get involved on our campus, and that is through athletics at LAHS. So as you can see here, we offer a wide range of sports throughout the school year. And you see that they run at different times during the year as well. So in the fall, there's cross country, football, water polo, tennis, volleyball, field hockey, and golf. The winter, we move into soccer, basketball, and wrestling. And then in the spring, track and field, swimming and diving, tennis, volleyball, badminton, softball, baseball, lacrosse, gymnastics, and boys golf. Wow. So that's a lot of opportunities to play in sports. We really want to make sure that if you're part of an athletic team, that you still make school your priority. And so that's why we require that students do need to maintain a 2.0 GPA in order to participate in athletics. If you're not familiar with what a grade point average is, a 2.0 would be kind of a C average across the board. So that's our minimum in order to participate. We also require that you keep 5 classes in your schedule to participate in school sports. As 9th graders, you'll all have at least that many in 9th grade. And teams do hold tryouts for students. And there's more information that should be coming to you on that. We also have an athletic director at our school who you can always reach out to if you have questions about when tryouts are happening or how to access tryouts or how to be a part of a team. So do any of our ASB students here today, are any of you student athletes, and can you talk a little bit about your experience on sports or anything that you think would be really helpful for incoming 9th graders to know about?
Go ahead.
I played 3 sports, not like all in one year. Some things that I would keep in mind is similarly to clubs, sports are like a great way to meet new people, and don't be afraid to try out. I tried like 2 new sports. and like with no experience, and it was super fun. But when you're coming to a sport, make sure that you do know you have enough time for it, because they are a big time commitment. And what else? And yeah, not all sports have tryouts. So especially the no cut ones are really great for new people.
Great.
Adding on to Amanda, there was like a lot of sports. I wish I did this. I just stuck to the only sport I've ever done. But there's a lot of like new sports that's offered at Los Altos that you wouldn't normally see, like field hockey. And a lot of my friends did try it and they got like really cool friends, and they also just got to try a new sport, and a lot of them really liked it and went on to play club and stuff.
Cool. For students who are athletes, although you take PE in ninth grade, as you're looking to complete your PE requirements in 10th through 12th grade, that 20 credit requirement, I think it's important to know that you can use sports to fulfill those requirements in the 10th through 12th grades as well as marching band, which is, although you don't see it up here, does count for PE credit as well. And there are a few other options for 10th through 12th grade. And we'll talk about those as you get into ninth grade and learn more about planning for 10th grade. But since we're focused on ninth grade, let's stay there for right now. Anything else about sports that the ASB students want to share? Okay. So we have some important dates. Some of them are not available yet, as you can see, and I'll go through those in just a second. I think the most important date for right now is getting your course request into the SIS system. You have from today through February 12th, so 2 weeks to enter those courses. I did want to tell you this, and I think this is important. Courses are not filling up right now. We're just collecting your interest. So you don't have to run out of this session and frantically go and enter in your courses into SIS as fast as you can. You have 2 weeks. We're only collecting interest. So it doesn't matter if you put them in now or February 11th, you still have the same chance of getting those courses as long as you get them in by February 12th. So what we want you to do over the next couple of weeks is to have conversations. We want you to have conversations with your parents, with your teachers who you have right now, who've been working with you all year, and they know where you are, what your work habits look like, and what you're capable of, and what your potential is. And so we really want you to have conversations with those people so we get you into the right courses and you have a schedule that works for you as you start ninth grade. If you're thinking of taking an honors course next year, we do have what's called an honors contract, which are just some things that you and your parents need to agree to in order to take the course. And so that contract is posted on the website. It's in the incoming ninth graders section. There is a link to that there for you. Normally we would have you bring those into your school to turn them in, but since we're in distance learning right now, we're going to ask that you email a signed copy of that form to Carrie-Ann Lee. That's carrieann.lee@mvla.net by April 8th. So you have a while to get those in. Ninth grade orientation is a really, really important day for you to be at, although we don't have the date available to you right now. It usually is very close to the first day of school. I want the ASB students to talk about ninth grade orientation because this is a really key day for you to be at. So can one of our, or several of you, our ASB students, talk about what this day is all about?
Yeah, so basically on this day, all ninth graders will pretty much get together and you guys will be split up into groups where you'll actually meet your Jumpstart mentors. So they're basically just going to be upperclassmen that you'll be assigned to. So even after that day, you can always ask them questions if you ever have any questions about courses or how to sign up for sports and stuff like that. So they're just another source. And also, on this day, you'll normally, if it's in person, you'll get all your materials. So like you'll get your picture, so you'll get your ID, also your PE clothes and your Chromebook if you need it, and things like that. So you'll pretty much be getting ready for the year to start. So it's usually a week before school actually starts. So just keep an eye out for that.
Great, thanks, Shanna. Anything else that would be helpful to share?
I would also like to say that Jumpstart mentors exchange numbers with the incoming freshmen that we have. So throughout the year, if they have any questions, just reach out to us too. So you're able to do that.
Great, thanks, Daniela. Other info. You do get your first look at your schedule. If there are any issues with your schedule, you get to make sure those are corrected prior to the start of the school year. And it's just, you have a real good sense of where you are coming into that first day. You can arrive on that first day of school with significantly more confidence than you might have if you didn't attend that day. So I know that family vacations are kind of up in the air right now, but if your parents are thinking of planning some kind of vacation and it's extending right up until the beginning of the school year, we want to make sure that maybe you're back home early enough so that you have access to go to this ninth grade orientation and take advantage of this great day. And then the first day of school, we will let you know as soon as we know when that day is going to be. We'll share that with your school leaders right away so that they're aware and they can share with you. So as we've been going through this presentation, I've been seeing some really good questions come in to the Q&A. And so I'm going to take a look at some of these. Ms. Parker, can you see these as well from where you are?
I can.
Okay, good. Do you want to give me a hand with some of these?
Sure. I can get us started. So
Great.
the first one I see is asking a bit about PE credit. So do sports need to be a part of LAHS or can they be clubbed too for PE credit? That's a great question. So to fulfill PE credit after freshman year, it would not be possible to fulfill that through club activities, but PE credit, you can get it through the sports. So marching band or 2 seasons of any other sport that are offered at Los Altos.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
All right, and then I've seen a couple of questions about languages. So the placement test that I mentioned earlier is just for Mandarin. So for other languages, there's no placement test or assessment involved. And what was the other question that I saw? There was one that was asking about if you still have to take 2 years of language at Los Altos High School if you started in middle school. So the answer to that would be, it's important to know that there's one requirement for graduation. There's another when it comes to college entrance. So for us, you can choose to take 2 years of a language, or you can choose to take 2 years of an art, or a combination of that, and that would get you to graduation. For college entrance, and this is something that you'd go over with your counselor once you're enrolled, you have to do 2 years or the equivalent of language. So if you started middle school, that 1 year could count as long as you're in the second level in your when you start language at high school. And you have to do a year of art in order to be eligible for college entrance.
Great. I see one here that says, do I need 7 classes in 9th grade? So the answer to that is no, you don't need 7 classes. You can take up to 7 classes in 9th grade, but for a lot of students, 6 classes works actually even better because it allows you a little bit of time to either have a breather in the middle of the day, or if your open period is at the beginning or the end, it allows you some time to get work done either before the school day starts or at the end of the school day before you go and start your after school activities. So as you're coming in and figuring out how high school works, sometimes 6 works really, really nicely for students starting out in 9th grade. I wonder if any of our students want to talk a little bit about that at all, whether they had 7 or 6 classes in ninth grade and what that looked like for them.
Yeah, so I took 7 classes, which was some of my required classes, and then ASB, and then I had PE. And I would recommend that if you plan it out and you feel and you really look at the hours, then your freshman year could be a good time to get some of those required classes out of the way if you know you're going to be a lot busier as an upperclassman. With that being said, you are adjusting from middle school to high school, and it's very different. The schoolwork, the school load is different. So if you aren't comfortable, like I would definitely recommend only taking 6 classes to give you that time and that space to adjust.
Great, thank you, very helpful. I see another question here about how do I learn more about graduation and college entrance requirements. So as we shared with you at the beginning of the presentation, we do have a Los Altos High School counseling website, and there is great information on all things related to the school there. And in particular, we have a college and post-secondary planning section where all of those requirements are laid out for you. Believe me, as soon as you get into the school and start meeting with your counselor, you're going to learn more about those requirements. You'll become pros at those very quickly, but that's where you can get a head start at looking at those if you want to. Ms. Parker, do you see any others?
I do. I saw a nice fun question I think our students could help us out with. So the first part, let's see if I can find it, is whether or not we have a cafeteria, and the answer is yes. And the second part was, how does the lunch compare to Egan? So I don't know if any of our student leaders went to Egan and give a good comparison.
At Egan, you have to order your lunch beforehand. And at Los Altos, you can just go in and pay for it. And not only is there also a cafeteria, there's also a taco truck nearby, which you also don't need to pre-order. And the food is much better. It tastes so much better. Like Egan's hot lunches have been getting kind of, but at Los Altos, they offer a lot of customizing if you have allergies and stuff too.
It's very good info to know.
They also offer a cookie stand at brunch and lunch, which is really good. And it has like a lot of different snacks.
Thank you. So the next question is about the honors contract. So for that honors contract, do we have to fill it out every year? And the answer is yes. The nice thing is if you're taking more than one honors class, you just, for each year, there's little check boxes. So you'll check off the ones that you're planning to enroll in for the following year. So yes, you'll need to fill out the form every year that you planned on taking any honors or AP classes. But we will remind you every time.
I see one here about clubs. Are clubs during lunch or after school? So I think our students can help us with this one.
Yeah, so normally the clubs are during lunch. It's really rare unless you have activities that include you having to like go out and volunteer, that it's usually after school. Other than that, they'll normally have like assigned meetings. So every other week or every week you'll have it on either Monday or like Wednesday and stuff like that. So it's okay. And it depending on how many clubs you're in, it shouldn't be too stressful, but just try to make sure that you stick to time management because you want to be well-rounded in all your areas. So
Thanks, Shanna. I see people want to know about lunch. We started talking about food and now people really want to know. So the question is, are you allowed to leave campus for lunch? And I'm going to defer to our student experts on this.
So technically, yes, we do have an open campus, so you can leave. But as a freshman and an underclassman in general, you aren't going to be able to drive, and walking is going to take like too long to get off campus and back campus in the time that you have to get back to class. So I would not recommend leaving campus unless you live close by. until you have a car, or you can befriend like an upperclassman if they want to take you out to lunch occasionally, but usually stay on campus.
Yeah, adding on to that, it's this is where like having a free period can come in handy because if the lunch is usually fifth period, I believe. So if you have a free fourth or if you have a free fifth, then you're able to like if you can walk, then you can walk to downtown Los Altos and get your lunch there and not be rushed to come back to campus. So if you other than that, then it's probably not best to go off of campus to get your lunch, but that's pretty much the only thing.
I would somewhat disagree. I say my freshman year last year, I just like quickly biked and I just made sure I was leaving on time. If you need to order ahead, you can order ahead. But it's great if you forget your lunch and they'll tell you can't like go and it's like not best, but like I would go. Just like make sure you make it back to class on time.
Okay. Now that I'm hungry, there is a question here about honors courses and grade point average. Do honors courses boost your grade point average? Yes, if you do well in the honors course, it can give you an extra point into your high school grade point average. Again, that is one benefit to honors courses. The real benefits are that they're challenging you and you're getting a deeper dive into a subject that you really love and care about. And so the GPA is just sort of a side benefit to that.
I just wanted to quickly add that freshman year, you can't take an AP class and the boost in your GPA taking the honors doesn't apply freshman year. So if you're thinking about that and you're thinking that you might be too stressed, maybe it's just not worth it because it doesn't even really boost it. It's the only benefit is challenging yourself and really thinking like, oh, maybe this is a good course for me.
So thank you very much, Shanna. Just to clarify, it does factor into the grade point average in your high school grade point average, but not necessarily into the colleges that you may be applying to. So there's lots and lots of idiosyncrasies about GPA, and that's why we encourage you not to think too much about those. So let's move on to a different subject area. Ms. Parker, do you see anything good?
Let's see. So, let's see. How does taking classes at, Amanda's, okay. So how does taking classes at Foothill Community College work? It's a great question. So students who are enrolled in high school are able to dually enroll at Foothill or De Anza College. And you would need to fill out a couple of forms. So one is our out of district course approval form. And the second is a dual enrollment form for whichever community college you're looking at. So for Foothill, they have their own specific form that you need to complete. It's important that you understand that it is college level work. And once you begin a record at a community college, that stays with you, even beyond high school graduation. Let's see. If you take 6 classes, how many electives do you get? Another great question. So in freshman year, most of the classes you're taking are actually counting towards graduation requirements. And I'd say maybe 5 out of the 6 or 7 would be meeting grad requirements, and perhaps 1 to 2 would be elective credits. It depends on the classes that you're enrolling in. So for example, a support class like Algebra 9 Math Lab or Survey Skills, those would both count towards elective credit. The world language or fine or visual art, that would be counting towards that cluster requirement, and so on.
Great. I see a question here that our students can help us with. I know they can on this one for sure. The question is, how do I get involved in student leadership?
All right, I love this question. So in your freshman year, all freshmen are automatically in class council, which is kind of like student council, but you don't have to like go to it. It's not a formal class, but you can go to meetings during lunch that will be led by your class officers, which I'll get into in like 2 seconds. And you can give input on like what fundraisers you want to do or like what you want your class spirit to be like, which is really fun. And then to be a freshman club class officer, you'll can sign up and then go to interviews in the first month of the school year. And then there you'll can be either put into a leadership class like ASB and SCL. And you can also be selected to be like the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, public relations of your class. Yeah.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm seeing a question here, a couple of questions about honors contracts, where are they located? So they are in the course selection area of the LAHS counseling website. And they are also located, there's an incoming ninth graders information link that's there. And I think your principal has shared that out with many of you. So it's right in there. And then who do we send the honors contract back to? It's her name's Carrie Ann Lee, but it is on the honors contract. Her email address is on the contract itself. So as long as you can find your way to the honors contract, you will know where to send it by reading the contract. Any others coming in?
There's one question here. Let's see. Do clubs boost your GPA? So clubs are typically extracurricular. So that means they're outside of, the classroom. You're not earning, most of the time, you're not earning a grade or anything for it. There's one exception, I guess you can consider speech and debate that could go on your transcript, but it's for pass, no pass, and it wouldn't be factored into your GPA. So clubs, technically, no, they don't boost your GPA.
Thanks. I see a question here about community service. Is community service a requirement for graduation? We do not have a community service requirement for graduation at Los Altos High School. We think community service is a great way to get involved in something bigger than yourself. It's a great way of setting up habits of helping others for the future. And generally speaking, there's been a lot of studies about this. People who are involved in service report having much happier lives. So we encourage students to get involved in any kind of service for their community, but it's not required in order to meet your graduation requirements.
I have a question here about a zero period. So if you take 7 classes, do you have a zero period? So for Los Altos High School, our zero period, we don't really have one unless you're participating in marching band. So get to sleep in a little bit later unless you are in marching band.
Do you have to try out for the track and field team? Any track people on our panel today that can answer that question?
Yeah, I did track last year and you don't need to try out. If you want to be on varsity track, you still sign up as JV, except once you go there and they see that they want to put you in varsity, then they will talk to you separately about that. But there's no tryouts for it.
I see a question here about fine art, practical art, world language. Can you only take one at a time? That's a combined requirement for graduation. And so many of our ninth graders take a language, a world language, and a fine art class together in ninth grade. That's totally fine if that fits with your schedule. So no, you can combine those in the ninth grade year. Are we getting through them mostly?
I think I see there's some that are being answered, so I'm trying to find one that I can get to. So we've answered this one just now.
I see one that says, do you need 2 years of a world language? So in order to graduate, you need 20 credits of a world language or a fine art or a practical art. That's our graduation requirement. But for college admissions, typically four-year colleges require around 2 years of world language to meet their entrance requirements. And some schools require 3 or recommend 3. The University of California, for example, recommends a third year of language as well. So not necessarily to graduate, but we usually encourage students to complete a couple of years at least of world language in order to meet college entrance requirements. One other thing about that, if you're in a language right now, say you're studying Spanish, usually students who have been doing Spanish in middle school are able to continue and they start in Spanish 2 or 2 honors. And that technically counts as your second year for college admissions. So if you are already in a language and you like it, we usually encourage you to continue on with that in 9th grade, just to move through that requirement more efficiently.
So I have a question here. If I choose a class now, can I decide to change it in the future? So I'm assuming that this is looking towards after February 12th. So we are hoping to get all of the information about the classes that you're interested in taking so that the schedule can be built. And if you decide to change it in the future, like for example, once the school year has started, it'll completely depend on whether or not there's space in that class. And there might be some chances that the class that you really want to switch into is completely full. So that's an important question. And there's your answer. Let's see.
We probably have time for one more question, and then I think we're about at the end of our webinar today.
Right. If you take a summer course before 9th grade, will it go into your GPA? I believe the answer is yes, if that class is accredited and is UC approved.
And also if you've gone through the approval process from our district. So that's a really important thing. If you're thinking of taking over anything over the summer outside of our district that you're hoping will be on your high school transcript, there is an out of district coursework approval process that you need to access, and that is accessible on our school's website. In the counseling section, you'll see an out of district coursework section, and you would need to go through those steps in order to get that approved. All right, well, we just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to meet all of you in person. Believe me, we're excited to meet you in person next fall. We hope that you enjoy the rest of 8th grade, whether it's virtual or in person as well. And we can't wait to see you. Thanks to all of our panelists today. And if you have other questions, we do invite you to reach out to the LAHS counseling website. There's lots and lots of great information on there. I think you can find a lot of answers on there. We also have a frequently asked questions section. So some of your questions might be the same questions that other people have been asking as well. So thanks very much. And we'll see you very soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Great to see you. Bye.
Bye.